I'm scared.
Sam.
My favorite movie here. Spoilers for the science fiction movie The Mandela Effect are coming up today, so be careful and have a good day. On vacation at a beach are a game developer named Brendan, his wife Claire, and their daughter Sam. The three are happy to be together and are always cracking jokes and laughing. Sam searches for snails along the beach while they are relaxing, but she pledges not to play in the water. Claire consents as long as Sam doesn't go too far away from their view. At the same time, Sam is actively searching for snails. She is unaware that the waves are dragging. George Sam, curious, tries to grab the doll, but the waves sadly drag her along. Brandon and Claire are devastated by the passing of Sam. Despite Brendan's affection for his daughter, Claire tries to move on. I couldn't just let her go at all. At the same time, they pack Sam's belongings. Berenstain Bear is a book that Brendan unintentionally sees. He feels strange because he can still clearly recall the book's last title. Instead, use the Berenstain Bear with an E. When they are sleeping, their neck, unexpectedly, and the kitchen makes a peculiar sound later identified as being furious. He invites his brother-in-law over to search the refrigerator for food. He asks the pizza delivery man, Brenda, about the Berenstain Bears, a book. Brendan chose math. However, the excellent writing is the Berenstain Bear with the letter, Matt responds, noting that the book's title is the Berenstain Bear with the letter E. Brendan searches for it online out of curiosity, and it turns out that many people believe the writing in the book is by the Berenstain Bears. Brendan keeps researching the occurrence with Annie until he discovers a theory that explains it, particularly the Mandela Effect theory. Brendan is perplexed by the picture of his family the following day. He questions his wife about the image on the refrigerator, and she responds that it was shot in front of the Griffith Observatory, but Brendan is sure they didn't snap pictures there. Instead, they captured images of Seattle's Pacific Science Center. His wife wants him to leave since she is cooking but doesn't answer. Then he discusses the Mandela Effect theory with Matt after seeing him. Brendan thinks he is going through the Mandela Effect phenomenon. Brendan maintains his notion and thinks he now lives in a parallel universe, despite Matt's denial and assertion that the phenomenon is simply a mistaken recollection. Brendan continues to research these hypotheses. He then discovers on the forum that an experiment using a Large Hadron Collider made by CERN is what is responsible for the Mandela Effect. In Russia, the investigation was carried out in 2008. Brendan then tries to visit a priest named Isaac to learn about the presence of God, but after hearing Isaac's comments, Brendan doesn't believe that God has created this universe. At the same time, many people experience unusual, one of which is the Mandela Effect, observing Brendan's peculiar behavior. Claire urges Brendan not to dwell on his previous interactions with Sam. She desires Brendan to move on from his past and lead a new life. He then inquired about the Monopoly guy's picture with his wife. Claire is adamant that the man depicted in Monopoly is sporting an eye patch on one side. It turns out that the guy's image is not wearing a monocle when she checks it. Brendan also notes that the Curious George doll, not the monkey character Curious George, actually has a tail. Sam's got a seat, I see. Brendan tries to explain how each of these is connected to the Mandela Effect theory. Brendan senses Sam's passing. Claire is upset and disgusted with Brendan since he thinks about himself and has bizarre ideas then. At that point, it is just another parallel universe version that enters the present world and then shifts the actual happenings. Although Brendan is still persuaded that the Mandela Effect exists, they cannot move on. Brendan continues to research the theory. He learns that the Mandela Effect might be brought on by blending other parallel universes with our own. The parallel universes in which he now exists are numerous, and each one contains a different version of his current life story. He believes Sam is likely still alive in a different parallel universe. He eventually discovers the scientist's name is Dr. Roland Fuchs. Who else considers this world to be a simulation? Dr. Roland is unavailable when Brendan tries to make an appointment with him the following day, so the two discuss Roland's research. According to the doctor's findings, the cosmos is a computer. The objective of the simulation is unknown. The simulation then generates new simulations with a fresh take on the narrative. The Mandela effect that Brendan is experiencing is a type of bug or a mix between the present simulation and other simulations every second. Dr. Rowland concurs that they cannot transform the world if they rely solely on an ordinary computer with rudimentary specifications. That, according to Rowland, is what makes life problematic. Brendan also concludes that if this world were a program, he could alter the program using script coding to make the world function properly and bug-free, but it appears he won't be able to do so. Brendan is then shown how he and his colleagues created the first quantum computer that is kept in a single university. Then, Dr. Rowland clarifies that the possibility exists. The quantum computer could run Brendan's software. Brendan then starts looking for books on quantum computing and computer programming and begins writing scripts based on them. He also blends some of the game programming code with quantum code to develop a new script. The following day, Brendan is taken aback by Sam's appearance when he initially arrives at their home. He believes it to be pure fantasy. Without wasting any time, Brenda guys take advantage of it by thinking that he is the one who returned Sam from the parallel universe. He was enjoying himself with his daughter. Brendan feels relieved that he could replace Sam's death tale with a different parallel account. Brendan, though, starts to feel off about Claire's behavior at that point. He understands that Sam is still alive in the alternate universe, but Claire has turned into a very stressed out person. Brendan suddenly goes to see Dr. Rowland, but he is stunned to learn that Rowland has committed suicide. He believes the script he inserted 2 months ago had a remarkable impact on Mandela. Brendan instantly decides to create a new script to execute the command to reinstall the universe after noticing a fault in writing. The reinstallation seeks to make the universe function regularly without bugs, such as the Mandela effect. Brendan questions the plot because he fears that the universe will be destroyed and cannot be rebuilt, but he does so out of concern for his daughter and wife. Brendan decides to travel to where the quantum computer is located and begin entering his coding script. He succeeds in running both his writing and the quantum computer. After doing so, Brendan displays symptoms of a reaction. Brendan leaves right away. However, he notices that the bus is missing all the cars from the parking lot. He sees that everyone is beginning to malfunction. Brendan then visits his family and notices that the situation has changed after observing the buildings start to malfunction. The installation goes dark when he spots his wife and the glitches. He eventually spots 2 moons. And then the entire universe vanishes into nothingness. A little minute later, Brendan's script begins to run again, and the world starts to reform. Animals, humans, and entire cities are now back to normal without hiccups, including the Mandela effect. Sam searches for snails when Claire and Sam are both at the beach. Sam receives a call from Brendan telling her to leave the Curious George doll, which appears to be missing its tail. The movie concludes as Sam searches for snails while Brendan keeps an eye on his daughter. To support the channel, turn off notifications, subscribe for more content like this, and leave a like. I appreciate your attention.